What is down, everybody? It's your main course, Pancake. Welcome back to another video. Today, we are talking about a little fella. A very peculiar little fella that is funny looking. I hate to be mean. I hate to be rude. But, you know, facts are facts. There's such thing as objective hilarity. I just came up with that, but it's a thing now. We're going to be talking about the Gobi Jerboa. Look at this little fellow look at him while I fix my hair. Oh God. Alright, hold on. Wait. Alright, everything fell apart while you were gone, but I fixed it because I'm crazy like that. I'm awesome. But yeah, so Gobi Jerboa, scientific name Alectaga bolata. Boom. Mugu Gaipan. Today, we're going to be talking about this little fella. We're going to be covering the history of the Gobi Jerboa. Not that extensive, but a little interesting. The appearance, the habitat, the diet, and the behavior. Let's start off in the past. Now, I know a lot of people don't like looking at the past. You know, the past is the past, Hakuna Matata type deal. It's not what Hakuna Matata means at all. It means no worries for the rest of your days. It truly is a problem-free philosophy. So the Gobi Jerboa was kind of, so I'm going to say discovered, but more realized as a new species in 1925. It was discovered by Glover Morrill Allen, which is a cool name. Glover. Oh, probably Glover. I like Glover better, though. I'm going to call him Glover. So, Glover found and examined the first jerboa in 1922. It was an adult male. 1922, so 3 years before it was recognized as a species. So, the reason it took so long for them to kind of differentiate was because it was very, very similar to the Alectaga, which is the same genus as the Gobi Jerboa, Alectaga sibirica. So they were very similar in kind of physical appearance, kind of phenotype, very similar phenotypes. They kind of were like, well, this is probably just the same thing. But our boy Glover examined 40 specimens. That's dedication right there. And he kind of found some common differences, and it was enough to deduce that it was a different species. The main thing that they were like, yeah, this is different than the Sibirica, was the globular audital belay. What? That's what I said too when I read that last night. But it's kind of the like structure that surrounds the ear canal, which, I mean, look at its ears. Look at that. You know? I mean, come on now. So it was a lot larger, a lot different than that of the relative. So that's why it was kind of deemed as a different species. As of 2013, I don't know, I couldn't find a more recent like number, but as of 2013, which was 10 years ago, believe it or not, there were 163 like recorded run-ins, I guess, with the Gobi Jerboa. So very to itself, you know, it doesn't really spread its wings and run around civilization much, you know. And because of this, we actually don't know the population of Gobi Jerboa. Like we can't estimate it. It's left up to ambiguity. I don't think I used that word correctly, but we'll move on. Mugu Gaipan. That's pretty much all I got for history. Like I said, not much, but kind of interesting how it, you know, was compared. They thought it was the other guy, and then globulars or whatever. And our boy Glover, shout out. So, moving on to the appearance. You may have noticed that I called it a little guy. I called it a small fella. I referred to the Gobi Jerboa as having a less large stature. And that is because its body is anywhere from 2.75 to 3.5 inches long. Its tail is 6 to 6.4 inches, so tail's like twice as long as its body. But that's pretty small. That's like that big. They only weigh zero point 0.8 to 0.13 ounces. So, like, that's not much, to be honest. So, their fur, they kind of have a complex fur structure. Fur coloration, not structure. Their kind of like top fur is like a gray, like a darker, like a light gray, but it's darker than the rest, kind of. Their sides are more of like a reddish brownish type of color, and then their underside is white. So it's kind of like a gradient almost, which is pretty nifty. They have whiskers that are almost resembling of a cat whiskers. They help with same kind of things that cat whiskers help with, you know. Most whiskers are have similar functions. We talked a little bit about the tail, about the size of the tail, very big tail, and it has tufts of hair along it. Its tail is also used when it gallops, not runs, gallops. But it uses its tail kind of to propel it forward a little bit, help it run. Also mention the ears. It's got big ears. I mean, look at these ears. What? They could be up to 3 times as large as their heads. Imagine if my ears were 3 times as large as my head. Those would be like this big, and then like go out to like here. However, I would have very good hearing, just like the Gobi Jerboa has. They have excellent hearing, which was a shocker. So along with having very good hearing, the ears also have a very high surface area to volume ratio, so it helps with dispersing heat throughout the body. Things with high surface area to volume are better at dispersing heat. That's why elephants have such large ears, is to help with heat regulation. We'll get to their habitat soon, but they live in the desert. They live in hot climates. They have to be able to kind of regulate that very well. Their nose is also very odd. It's like a snout, almost resembling of a pig snout, which is kind of crazy. It looks really out of place. They also have very short legs. They're very short front legs. They have pretty long, skinny back legs. Very short front legs, which look kind of goofy. They look like kind of make them look like a goober. They're kind of just put there to hold food, which again, we'll get to food shortly, but kind of holds the food close to their mouth so they don't have to like reach out and then you know, they can just you know, pretty cool. Back feet, like I said, very long, very kind of odd. Looks kind of like Olive Garden breadsticks. You know, they can jump very high, and the soles of their feet actually have like a stiff, coarse hair on them to grip the sand that they're jumping off of. You know, I mean, if you ever tried to jump in sand, your feet kind of like push the sand away. It's kind of hard. You do weigh slightly more than 1 ounce, but the hair helps to shrink, you know, give them some grip. They also have very large eyes. These guys have a lot of very unique physical traits. Very large eyes. They do a lot of in the night. They are nocturnal. We'll come back to that. But very large eyes help them see in the night very well. Good sight. Now let's move to the habitat. They live in the Gobi Desert. That's their main residing place. So northern China and southern Mongolia are kind of where they're concentrated. They also kind of live in, I don't know if this was kind of worded confusingly. I don't know if these are like parts of the Gobi Desert, if it's like kind of broken up into different like sections, or if these are other like smaller deserts. Some of the bigger ones were like the Great Lakes Depression, which I'm pretty sure like it's a part of the desert in northern China, but I also think it's like a symptom of living in Michigan. There's also the Valley of Lakes and the Dzungarian. So that's pretty much where they live. It's all desert and steppe areas. They do prefer more well-vegetated areas, like desert bushes and stuff like that. They live in burrows, very simple burrows, just kind of a hole, not super complex. It's not like an anthill with thousands of caverns. It's just a hole. Something that they do. When the rainy season comes, or when there's like a big rain coming, they set their burrows up in hills so that they don't get flooded, which is pretty smart. I'll be honest, I wouldn't have thought of that. I would have drowned. They also tend to have 2 permanent burrows, and they'll also make temporary burrows when they're out hunting and running around doing their thing. They'll make a little temporary burrow, but they typically have 2 like main permanent burrows, one for the summer months and one for the winter months. The summer burrow is used to raise pups, which we'll get to reproduction, where you're very active during the summer, going out, coming in, whoosh, boosh, boosh, eating, hunting, killing. And then the winter burrow is used for hibernation, so it's kind of more for staying warm during the cold and stuff like that. Moving on to the diet. There's not too much to talk about here, I'll be honest. They eat seeds, roots, insects, and larvae. There's a lot of insects. That's kind of their most common thing they eat. They also don't drink water. They get the water from the food that they eat, so they don't really have to worry about finding a water source, which is pretty nice when you live in a desert. So there's that. And that's pretty much all I got for diet. There was not much in the diet section. Moving on now to behavior. This also is going to encapsulate reproduction. Something I noticed that was quite odd, kind of just a weird thing that was in one of my sources, is Wikipedia. The Gobi Jerboa is described as the most desert-loving of any Gobi rodent. I don't know why. I don't know how they got this distinction. I'm not sure what they did to deserve this distinction, but they've got it. They earned it. I'm proud of them. What can I say? Hopefully they all have a little trophy in their burrows. As I mentioned previously when I was discussing their large eyes, they are nocturnal. They're most active in the twilight hours, which is spooky. Are you team Edward or team Jacob? Are those the... I'm gonna say that those are the 2 Twilight things. I have no clue, to be honest. I think I'm right. I'm like 12% confidence right now, which is pretty good for me. I'm team Edward. I don't know what that means. They are also very solitary animals, so you rarely see them with other Gobi Jerboas. They got great camouflage. I mean, if you look at them, their coloration, very good for blending into sand. Overall, they're just very good at camouflage, and that's kind of their main way of not getting eaten. Their main predator is kind of birds of prey and snakes. A lot of snakes, too. They gotta watch out for the Slytherin suckers. Another way that they can evade predation is by running. So they can jump very high, as stated. They can jump up to 6 feet. Nobody knows exactly how high they can jump. That's just kind of the highest that they've been documented jumping. When they are running from predators, they do a little zigzag motion, where it's like kind of like half jumps, like a little hops instead of jumps, and just zigzag back and forth, throw them off, and skedaddle. Which I'm gonna try that next time I feel like I'm in danger. Next time I'm in a social situation and I feel scared, I'm just gonna start jumping in a zigzag formation out of the door. Now, reproduction. Not much is known, of course. As mentioned, there's not that much known about this organism. There's not a whole lot. Pretty low key, pretty underground. Get it? Because they live in burrows. They reproduce between the months of May and August. When they give birth to 1 to 3 offspring on average, which is, not as many. I mean, you think about rodents, you think about like mice, they usually give birth to a lot of offspring, but not these guys. They take extra special care. Gestation is also a lot longer than most other rodents. It's 25 to 35 days, which doesn't sound like much, but for a small rodent, that's pretty long. The newborn offspring develop fairly slowly. Once again, in the span of rodents, they can't jump until 11 weeks of aging has passed. Wow, I worded that weirdly. But yeah, they can't jump for 11 weeks, and they're not sexually mature for 14 weeks. I know what you're all thinking, and I'm about to crush you all. All of your hopes and dreams are about to be out of the window. I apologize that I'm the person who has to say this. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but it's my duty. It really is my duty. It is... This is hard to say. It is illegal to have one as a pet. You can't have a Gobi Jerboa as a pet. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I had to say this to you. But yeah, so unfortunate. They don't really know enough about them to know if they are endangered or not. But kind of because of this, they don't want you to have them as a pet because they don't know really what would happen. So precautionary tale. I didn't tell you this, but if you're sneaky enough, you can have one as a pet. Just don't get caught. I didn't tell you that though. Hopefully, FBI, that wasn't me. It was a glitch in the audio, I think. If you don't get caught, it's not illegal. I don't know who's saying that stuff. It's weird. It's weird. And that, ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much all I got for the Gobi Jerboa. There's not a lot. There's not a lot there. This is a little mysterious fella. A mysterious little fella. I mean, who knows what they could be doing in their burrows? They could be, casting spells, witchcraft. I don't know. But yeah, a really cool little fella. I like saying little fella. I don't know why. It's cool. It's nice. It makes me feel good. All right, leave me alone. That's pretty much all I got. Sources will be in the description as always. I'll leave a paper trail. Just in case I'm wrong, I can be like, well, actually, I'm not wrong. They were wrong. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Let me know what you think of the Gobi Jerboa. Smash like if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you want to see more of these videos. If you're not already subscribed, which you should be, make someone else's day better if you can. I believe in you. I try every day, and I think you should. I think everybody should continuously try to make people's days better. It's not always easy. Sometimes you are the person that needs your day made better. You need people on both sides. So try your best. Keep doing your best. You're doing great. Thank you for watching. Have an absolutely wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see all y'all later.